Welcome to Keep It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Monday evening. We're doing it on a Monday. That's what we do. We switch it up here with my man, Big E. What's going on, Big E?
Not much, man. What about yourself?
Man, kind of a long weekend. What I do every weekend, basketball tournament. We played with Sting this weekend, so played up a division, but got a chance to, make it to the ship. I tell you, man, these people know how to make this money. If I ever decide to retire, I think I'm going to start me a basketball gym because, man, you spread these games out. Like yesterday, we played at 11 o'clock in the morning, the semifinals, and we turned around and played the championship at 5:30. So you live in Choctaw, so instead of me driving all the way home, we ended up taking the girls to the main event. So these people's going to find a way to get your money no matter what. But I just tell you, man, instead of driving all the way home, we took all the girls to the main event. But it was a good time. They came up short. They got beat by a good team out of Washington. A lot of the girls out of Washington, Oklahoma, which, Washington is really good for his girls sports. Team called Select to beat us in the championship. But, hey, it was fun. It's always fun. Win, lose, or draw. Somebody got to lose. But, hey, you learn something. You get better each time you get out there on the court and then go compete. So what about you? What did you do this weekend?
I worked, and other than that, I just chilled out, went to work, went over to my friend's house, hung over there for a little bit. Just a little pretty chill, relaxed weekend. So
there's nothing wrong with that, man. Those are the best weekends, man. Folks, if I sound kind of I don't have nothing bad. I just think I got a little head cold coming on. But, me and my man Big E, the show's going to go on. We're not going to stop. Something we are going to start doing. We're going to start dropping the show on Saturday mornings, right?
Yes. From here on out, start expecting the show on Saturday mornings around 9:30. I'm going to try to get those uploaded around that time on Saturdays. And then that'll just be until football season starts back up. Because when football season starts back up, it's kind of hard to cram a show into one weekend. So, but yeah, just for the remainder of winter and spring sports, be expecting the episodes to come out at 9:30, and then football season rolls around, and we'll figure something else out for that.
Like I said, we're getting deep into wrestling season, man. I kind of heard some news, and we got a special guest. We interviewed her a couple weeks ago. Something happened, but I guess tonight is just her night because we have nobody else. We'll have Miss Peyton Hand on, the Choctaw superstar young lady wrestler. She's outstanding. We'll get a chance to listen to her talk about, what's going on in the girls' sport of wrestling, because this year they'll have a state championship for girls wrestling, and she's ranked number 1 in the state at her weight at 100 pounds. She's an All-American, and, and I'm going to tell you, you get a chance to talk to her, a well-spoken young lady, but we're going to try to do this interview again, but I think this time it's going to be 10 times better than the first one, because guess what? We've already talked about it. We can talk about it again. So you guys get to hear it this time when we talk about it, but we did drop another ad with
Proactive Protect.
Yep. It turned out pretty good, man, and, it's just something that's doing on the fly, folks. I tell you, hey, if we don't make it in this business of keeping it 100 Oklahoma High School sports, you might use me, Big E, and Zoe on one of your commercials.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Hey, we got it going on. But, folks, we'll be back after one of our what?
One of our sponsors.
Keep it at 100 Oklahoma High School sports. Right back. What's wrong, Zoe?
Hey, don't worry, Tony. We got our guys at Proactive Protect to keep us safe. They can come out to your house, school, or even your business. You can give them a call at 844-X-Virus-X, which is 844-984-7879, or you can visit them at proactiveprotect.com.
You're always protected by Proactive Protect. Hey, Zoe, I'm looking for some good insurance. Do you know anybody?
If you're tired of messing with the general, call Bobby Lewis. He can take care of your cars, house, boats, and even your pets. He has 2 locations, Del City, 4805 Southeast 44th Street. The number is 405-670-3665. And his new location is 1654 South Choctaw Road, Suite 107. Like a good neighbor, Bobby Lewis is there.
You tired of going out to your trash can, having to smell so bad? Well, no further. Call Spiffy Cans. He cleans, disinfects, sanitizes. 405-423-8824 or go to spiffycansok.com. Spiffy Cans, he's your man.
Spiffy Can, he's your man. Welcome back to Keeping It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports. We have a very special guest tonight, Miss Peyton Hand, the Choctaw female wrestler for the Yellow Jackets. How you doing, Miss Peyton?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
We can't complain. It's a Monday night. Me and Big E, we get to interview you again. Sorry it didn't go out last time. Something happened to you could hear us talk, but we couldn't hear you. But we're gonna have it fixed this time. So glad we can have you again, and nice of you to join us again. So because you could have said, "Nah, y'all had y'all's one shot at the champ." But thank you again for letting us have you again. So Ms. Peyton, man, I mean, you see that you are 2020 junior high, high school state champion. Then you also was a high school state championship in 2020. Then you won Tulsa National, and Tulsa National was you got named OW, and then you just won your this past Christmas you just won the JOC for the fourth time this year. For the fourth time in the last 4 years you've won it, and just this weekend you won another tournament. And I'm gonna have you kind of talk about all of them, but you just won the McLeod Girls Tournament. So how was that?
I think that was a really good competition opportunity. It's some girls that I have never really competed against before, so it was good to see the new competition and people that I might be seeing around state.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I really enjoyed it. It was also in a dual format, and being a girl on the team, I don't really get to see. I don't get to wrestle in the dual formats as much as the boys do. So they made the tournament in a format where all the girls could wrestle in a duel, so I think it was really creative and cool.
So how did they do that? Did they kind of put you on the team? Did they kind of draw teams? Who coached the team and all that? How did they kind of do that?
So Chandler actually has a girls team. It's not a full roster or anything, but there's some there. So I got put on a team with them, and then Becca coached me whenever I was wrestling, and then helped coach the rest of the team.
That's cool though, man. I mean, like I said, if you're looking at your resume, like I said, you won junior high state and you won high school state last year. And last year was the first year they had, girls high school state, and you got a chance to participate in. And this year you got a chance to try to win it again. You're going for your second state championship. But, before we talk about that, Tulsa National, I mean, that's a big tournament, and, that kids come from all over to participate in. And, you win in Tulsa National and being named OW. Tell people that don't know about girls wrestling in the Tulsa National. What's it like?
It's a competition like no other. And you have people coming in from Hawaii and Alaska coming to wrestle at that tournament. I mean, you have other national tournaments, but this one just doesn't compare to any other. I'd say it's probably the toughest of all national tournaments in the country. And I got some of my best competition there. I wrestled a girl who had training experience at the Olympic Training Center. And then I wrestled a girl who was her first year. You just have a wide range of competition that you really can't get anywhere else, and I really enjoy that.
That's good. Like I said, wrestling a tournament like that, because if you can go place, a lot of times they always say, if you can go place in a tournament like that, because you got kids from all over, and, most of these females, if they're wrestling in this kind of tournament, they probably travel a lot. It's not just some girl that says, hey, I think I'm going to wrestle this year. These girls have been wrestling for a while, and you're competing against them and going against them. It's like you said, it's making you better, but you're seeing the best competition, because I think that prepares you for your state championship, tournament, because, you're wrestling in some of the best competition. Here, like I said, you're ranked number one at your 100 pounds, weight. And like I said, you're looking for your second state championship. So I think that does, so what's the difference between like the JOC and the Tulsa National? I mean, they're both good tournaments, but the JOC is probably just a bit a notch lower than the Tulsa National. So, you just won your fourth JOC, so that's big time though. So what's it kind of like wrestling in that tournament?
So at JOC, it's still considered a national tournament, but mostly you're pulling people from like Texas, Missouri, Arkansas, like surrounding states, and not really people from, like, really far out. I mean, this year there was quite a few because, it's been shut down in a couple states, so people were willing to travel a little further. But surprisingly, my brackets were actually bigger at JOC than they were at Nationals, so that was kind of a cool experience to have. And I got more matches that way, so I enjoyed that. But JOC is just a different environment completely. I feel like it's not as serious as Tulsa Nationals, like you mentioned, but it's still all the more enjoyable.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, talk to Ms. Peyton, what got you to start, wrestling? Because, I mean, I know you've been in the room, ever since you was a young lady, 4 or 5 years old, and I know your brother's there, in the room with you, and I know your dad. Mr. Tyler, he's kind of helped coach, but, what made you get into wrestling?
Well, this is actually kind of a funny story, but so basically it all started whenever my brother was wrestling at a little local tournament whenever he weighed like 40 pounds and he was a D1 kid.
yeah, I remember
And
this.
sitting up there in the stands watching him, actually, no, I was on the floor with my dad while he was coaching, and my brother had gotten pinned by a kid, and I had a whole speech prepared. I was yelling at him and stuff, telling him that he could have done better and that he never should have lost to that kid. And then a couple weeks later, I asked my dad if I could wrestle, and at first they were a little skeptical, and I was like, I just kept asking and persisted. And the next season, sign-ups came around for Little League, and I was there.
That's it right there. And the good thing about it, though, you're in a room with a young lady that's trained at the Olympics, training center, that's wrestled for Choctaw High School. And she was kind of on the boys' team, and now that you've kind of started doing it, compared to when she did it, they really didn't have that much girl wrestling. But now it's kind of taken off. But you got this young lady, Becca, that's, like I said, that's one of the coaches on the team. But like I said, you got her in your corner that's, like I said, trained at the Olympic Center, that's wrestled, had a scholarship, had a chance to go wrestle in college, but I think she took the route to go, go to the Olympics and do stuff like that. But, you got her in your corner, teaching you and preparing you for the next level because, like I said, I know you're really good. You don't lose very many matches. As you can see, I don't know how many matches have you lost. We probably can count them on one hand. But, like I said, you're looking for your second state championship. But what's it like having Becca, coaching you and teaching you and preparing you, for what's upcoming for the state championship?
Sometimes it's a struggle. I mean, I get beat up quite a bit, not going to lie. But, I've learned a lot, and I've been able to grow a lot as a wrestler with my technique. And I'm really appreciative of it, and it's helped me come so far with my wrestling. And I don't think I would be where I am today without her guidance as a coach. So I'm really glad that she has been here at Choctaw helping out with coaching because it's helped me a lot.
And I know a lot of times when you go to the individual tournaments like the Tulsa Nationals and the JOCs, I know she don't get to go to those, but you have your dad that's helped in the room, that's done Little League, coaching over there. So, what's it like having him? Because, I mean, as we already play your film, your state championship, you hear him in the background yelling and screaming. So what's it like, having him in the corner too?
He's been there ever since I started. So, it's kind of great to have him there beside me, ever since I've started the sport and been able to watch me grow and help me grow. And he's just been my support system and role model throughout it all. And I'm just grateful that he's been there and to support me throughout my entire wrestling career.
So, I mean, when you guys are done, when you get in the car, because I know me as a father, I know back in the day with my boys, I was tough if they struck out or didn't make a tackle. We'd get in the car and I would boom, 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 beat them up all the way home. But I've learned with Zoe, I guess the older you get, the more wiser you get. But with Zoe, I think when it's over, every now and then I still might have those little outskirt bursts. But, when you guys get in the car and say you didn't have to do something right, does he kind of talk to you on the way home or he just kind of lets it go, hey, we're in the car, I'm dad now, I'm not coach no more. How's that kind of, how's that?
Oh, he definitely does not let it go. It is, we talk about it the entire way home, and it's a long drive from Tulsa.
So he's letting you have it for almost for 2 hours. So what is mom? Did she step in and help you out, or what did she do? She's like, hey, it's enough, Mr. T. It's let it go. But I know as a parent, we always want the best for our kids. So I know how tough it is. But I think also it has got you to the point. That's why you are a junior high state champion. That's why you are high school state champion. That's why you won a Tulsa National. I mean, and getting OW at Tulsa Nationals, I mean, that's a big honor. I mean, I'm just telling you right now. I got a kid that wrestles in college, and I mean, he's never won OW at a big. I mean, he's won it in he won it in junior high state, but he's never won it something like that. Tulsa National, like I said, that's tough, man. I just I bow down to you because I'm just telling you, man, that's one of the toughest tournaments that you can wrestle in and win, and you've done it. Like I said, you've done it at all phases from high school to junior high to Little League and all that. But going into like I said, your sophomore year, you're trying to win your second state championship. Is there some schools you're kind of looking at there's some things that you kind of got on the map that, hey, you know, you want to take care. Like you said last week, and you wrestled in McLeod, and you got some different girls that you know you got to go against. Are you going to get to see any of these girls in the state championship or regionals?
What was that?
I'm sorry. I said, you know, going into, you know, this week, coming out of the last weekend, you know, you got the wrestling at McLeod tournament, and you got to see some different girls. Are you going to get to see any of those girls going into regionals or state?
Yeah, I think so. I wrestled a total of 5 matches, and all of them were high school girls, so I'm sure that I'll see every single one of them at state, unless some of them decide to either not come, or maybe they get like beat off in a ranking match and they're not able to come. So yeah, I think that I'll see every single one of them there.
So who is your competition? I mean, you mind me asking, because it seemed like you knocked a lot of people off. So you know, you being ranked number 1, you know, at your weight at the 100 pounds, you know, are you going to have girls kind of running from you because you are defending state championship? You know, this year it gets more, you know, you got your own tournament and all that. So who is your competition out there?
So right now, what I know of, so there's Alexis Miller from Wagner, and she's a really tough competitor. She's a senior this year. And there's Landon McCartney of Pawhuska. I believe she got second at state last year. She's a senior. And then that's all that I recall.
Have you wrestled any of these young ladies before, or you know, would this be the first time this year, if y'all do hook up, that y'all hooked up before?
I haven't had the opportunity to wrestle either of them this season, just because they live in faraway places, so we're normally not at the same tournaments.
Oh, okay. So that should be interesting, though. You know, like you said, you named 2 girls. That's pretty tough that you might have a chance to go against, though. You know, well, Peyton, you know, like I said, with this year, you're just a sophomore. I know you got school, you know, some schools on your mind. Is there some schools you're kind of looking at, or you're kind of telling them that, hey, I'm interested in coming, you know, being part of your women's wrestling program, or you just kind of waiting because you're just a sophomore and you still got, you know, a few more years? But is there a school that you're set on and say, hey, that's where I want to go?
So I've definitely done some looking, and recently I stumbled across Presbyterian University, which is a D1 school that has a women's wrestling program, and they actually have like a large amount of majors and minors that cater to my interests, and they have a good women's wrestling program. Mm-hmm. But Penn State, if they get a women's wrestling program, they would probably be my number 1 school. OSU as well, they have a very good wrestling program as a whole, so I'm sure their women's wrestling would be great.
Oh, yeah.
And those are probably like my top 3 schools. Like, if any of them got women's wrestling, I would go right away.
Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, you got some schools you got in mind, and like you said, at one school, you know, I kind of like hearing you say, hey, you know, what your major want to be, and, you know, and it's funny because you're not just talking about wrestling, you're talking about getting your degree, you know, and that's the thing about it nowadays with some of the young athletes, they don't talk about, you know,
right,
their
yeah.
sports. They talk about, you know, all they're talking about is their sports. They're not talking about their education.
Right.
And it seems, you know, that you got your head on like, hey, yeah, I know wrestling's going to take me this far, but then the day it's about getting that education. And so, you know, and I know talking to your dad, you know, he said you're a 4.0 student. And that's the thing about it, that I'm glad you're talking that, because when anybody gets to watch the show, you talk about your education, and you get a lot of people, all they talk about, man, I'm going to go play college football, I'm going to play basketball, hope I make it to the NBA, I hope I make it to the NFL. But at the end of the day, you know, wrestling only goes so far, you know. I mean, it's, you know, you make it to the Olympics, you don't. If you don't make it to the Olympics, you're in the real world. But that's good that you're talking about your education, you know. So
what are some of those majors that you're interested in, just out of curiosity?
So I'm really passionate about the sciences, so I'd probably go into maybe bio or chemistry, possibly. And I'm almost set on a minor in political science. Okay. It's something that interests me a lot, but I don't think I would major in it. It's just something that I've been interested in, and I would like to learn more about it, but I wouldn't make it my major. Gotcha.
That's pretty interesting, you know. I mean, those are kind of things that they're in pretty well demand. You're always going to need some kind of chemist or bioscientist. You know, those are just things that very good demand for those jobs. So
No,
yeah.
One, it tells you right now, it tells you that she's very intelligent, very smart.
Oh yeah, I would never take those majors. That'd be way too much for me.
I took biology in high school, and that was it. I said, I'm out, baby. Hey, I never hope to ever have to mess with her, chemistry, any of that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you, man, it's tough. But, it just shows you right there, Peyton, that you got your head on straight, and you know what you want to do in the future. Because, like I said, believe me, my own kid, I was like, what's your major? I don't know. It's like, son, you're almost done with your first year of college. So, so maybe I'm going to have you talk to him, Peyton, and you can get him lined out because I don't know if he's ready yet. But Peyton, I just tell you though, man, I mean, not only having Becca, you're at a program that's won a couple state championship. You got Coach Benny Coleman. We've had him on the show a few weeks back, and, I call him the legend. So not only do you have a Benny Coleman, Becca, you got Dustin Reed, you got Dustin Woods, and you got JJ, some of the top-notch coaches here. And I know the boys went wrestled last weekend out there in the Yukon tournament. I think they finished second behind Stillwater. Stillwater's loaded with a bunch of move-ins, and so it just tells you what that program's at. They lose two state champions from last year's team, McQuan and the heavyweight, and, Gabe Johnson. Two guys have been two-time state champion, and you got a chance to beat those guys because, you're looking at you got a chance to be a four-time state champion and have your name on the board. One, as the first female wrestler, that's going to be, because I only think Becca, she never won state, so that's something that's always going to be carried at Choctaw High School that, the first female state champion, and you also got a chance to be a four-time state champion. So, so what's it like having Coach Benny, like I said, I know you deal with a lot with Becca, but Coach Benny brings a lot of knowledge to it. So what's it kind of like, having him in there as a coach too?
I've had him around since Little League, and, he's always had so much knowledge and just techniques that I've used my entire wrestling career, basically. He was my first coach that I ever had, so basically all my wrestling knowledge is from him. So I think it's really cool to still have him around, even though he started out as my Little League coach, and I think that shows a lot of how dedicated he is to the Choctaw program, and I'm really appreciative of all the coaching that he's done for me through the years.
No, I'm telling you, that's why I call him the legend, man. I've had a chance to be around him, since my kid was, 4 or 5, and it's a funny story because, my kid was at Carl Albert, but he still wrestled for Iron Man, and finally Benny kind of, he says, hey, Tony, I gotta, this is really funny because we wrestled Choctaw in 6th grade, they can wrestle. So Gabe was at Carl Albert 6th grade, they wrestled Choctaw. We win 2 matches, Carl Albert does, they win 2 matches. Gabe beats his kid, and then somebody else won a match, and then, Choctaw scored all the points, probably pinned everybody else. And, I'm sitting there looking like, man, look at the future. Am I going to go to Carl Albert? Am I going to go to Choctaw? And so, Benny finally said, hey, Tony, I got to quit coaching Gabe because, now I'm going against him. So, me and my wife and then, Gabe's mom, we all had to kind of sit down and, come to Jesus talk and say, what we're going to do with this young man, because the best thing, and coming to Choctaw, you get to do a lot of things that other schools don't do around the metro, as far as like a Carl Albert, Mill City, Jones don't have wrestling, Harris program's okay, Coach Miller's got them guys kind of going in the right direction, but, you guys get to travel, get to be on Team Oklahoma, get to be on some of these national teams and go and wrestle different places, and I think that's what gets you guys prepared for going out there for a state championship, going out there, for, Gary or Perry tournament. So, going to these big tournaments, like you said, you got to wrestle, in the McLeod girls tournament. To me, I think that's, I read about that and I've seen that, it just kind of tickled me that you got to go, because I know a lot of times you don't get to, like you said, you don't get to do the duels because they're mostly boys teams and it's not a girls team, but kudos to Chandler for, bringing you on, then you be part of it and you win the tournament. So that's a great deal. But, Peyton, like I said, what you got coming the next couple of weeks? I kind of had heard that state was going to be in March. Is that true?
I'm not really sure yet. I don't know if they've confirmed the schedule for that, but the only tournaments that I know of that are coming up is regionals. Like that, I think that's my next big thing. There might be a couple local tournaments that pop up, but regionals and state in March, I'm not sure if that will go through or not. People have been talking about it, but I'm not sure if it's confirmed.
I was going to say, that's kind of late, man. It's kind of late in the game, because to me that kind of falls into baseball season. So if you got a wrestler that plays baseball, run track and stuff like that, or soccer, or the next sport in the spring, I think that's kind of tough. But one of the reasons they might be doing it in March, because maybe you can wrestle outside. It's a little bit warmer, and so then you ain't got to spread everybody out because I don't know what they say. It's funny because I know Harris wrestled a couple of tournaments outside, so maybe that's one of the reasons they're looking at it. You can get 4 mats, on a high school or a college football field or whatever they want to do it at, but maybe that's one of the things they're looking at. But we will dig into that. But Miss Peyton, I'm glad you got a chance to come on, keep it at 100 Oklahoma High School Sport with me and Big E. Anything you want to say to the people out there, to a young lady that's thinking about becoming a wrestler? Give her a word of advice and tell them, hey, it's okay to be a woman wrestler because boys still like us and all that. So anything you want to tell anybody that that's thinking about becoming a wrestler?
I mean, just be a wrestler for you. Like, if you want to wrestle, go and do it. Don't be held back by society standards of if a girl can do it or not, because that doesn't matter. If you want to be a wrestler, go be a wrestler, because it's probably one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And it helps you learn so many life lessons, and it teaches you so much discipline and how to be one within yourself, and I think it's the best thing ever.
All right, I got to ask this $1 million question. I always have a $1 million question for each guest or something. But so tell me this. Is it hard cutting weight? Because I'm a big guy. I ain't got to worry about cutting weight. I always got my little snacks and, whatever my wife or Zoe brings me, man, I always got my little snacks by my bed. So I never really had to worry about cutting weight. And guess what, Piss P? I ain't going to worry about cutting weight. I mean, I'm a big guy. I was skinny when I was young. I like being, I tell people all the time, me and my wife's kind of like the Happy Meal. She's the 1, I'm the 0. It's okay. I'm okay with it, Big E. That's keeping it 100. But I mean, really, truly, is it hard having to cut weight and, watch your weight before a big tournament and stuff like that? Is it hard?
I think it really is. Sometimes I really just want to eat just whatever I want. Go to McDonald's and get a McChicken or something.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I get.
That's it. Get your Big Mac.
You really feel a difference whenever you go down another weight, and you can feel your strength compared to your competitors. So it's worth it in the end. But yes, it's definitely hard.
It's funny you say that because, the other day I texted Gabe and I said, what are you doing? And he said, nothing. So he says, what are you doing, Dad? I said, sitting here being fat and black. And he said, man, I can't wait to get there. I said, you got 4 more years. So you got 4 more years, baby, before you can be fat. Because I'm telling you, man, I know it has to be tough, though, man. I know when he was wrestling and he was cutting weight, and I think his sophomore year was the toughest because, he wrestled at 106. And it was so funny because, and this, you can get down to weight. Because you get that pound allowance, 2 pounds allowance. You get down to weight, you can be 106, 108, and then Sunday morning he woke up and I will go check the weight, and then you got a tournament or you got a match on Tuesday night, so you got to be back down to 106 again. And so he would wake up Sunday morning, wouldn't get up to about 12 or 1 o'clock. And then you go get on the scale, and that's what a wrestler does. I'm pretty sure you got a scale in your bedroom, right, Peyton? Yep, every wrestler has a scale. I was at Gabe's apartment on Saturday and went by and grabbed that day before Zoe's game, and I walked in Gabe's room, and boom, there's a scale. It's right there. You gotta, but first thing they do is get up and they check the weight. But it was so funny because we would, after the match, we go get some to eat and get something to drink, and you go from being 108, weighing in that morning at 108, and then you wake up the next morning he's 120 on Sunday, and you're like, what'd you eat? I didn't eat none of that. What'd you drink? His whole thing. No, they did, because it's tough, because what it is, you lose all that weight and then you start putting all that fluid. And a lot of it's fluid weight, and Peyton knows it.
Yeah, water, so much weight.
It's so much weight, but once you get in there, you start working off, it comes off just like that. But it's so crazy because a wrestler is always worried about their weight. They really are, man. It's kind of like a runaway model, always trying to keep that figure, and that's what a wrestler is, though. But, I have to give it up to you and all the wrestlers, females, males, because it's a tough job to do. And I always told myself, if somebody came to me and wanted a job and I had to interview him, and it was a football player and he could be an All-American, and there's a wrestler and be an All-American, I'm going to hire that wrestler. And everybody said, why? You love football? I told you, I said, because that guy or female wrestler is tough-minded. You know why? because you got to be tough-minded. One, make sure you're making weight.
Yeah.
Two, you have to in a battle, somebody slap you in the head, and you don't get into a fist fight. So it's a tough deal, though. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, and Miss Peyton will tell you, too, you don't mess with a wrestler who has cauliflower because they're tough.
Right.
I don't care how big you are. If you see somebody with a messed up ear, you go the other way. You said, hey, man, you won this match. You won this fight. I'll get you next time. So, Miss Peyton.
I have a $1 million question for you, like Tony usually does. But, is there any you don't have to name them unless you're feeling bold, but is there any guys either on your team or that you see anywhere around the state that you think that you could beat?
I like that.
That's hard. I mean, I wrestle them in practice all the time, and I'm not going to lie, I get beat most of the time. But, I mean, I get in a couple, really smooth takedowns every once in a while. But I don't know. I mean, I bet you I could beat one or two on a good day. I'll catch them whenever they're weight. I'll catch them whenever they're cutting weight for a duel.
Gotcha.
That's the best time to catch them because they're cranky and they're hungry and they're angry and all that. So that's a good one. That's a great question, D. That is $1 million question because I've been fortunate, Peyton. My boys, Deshaun, when he wrestled, and Gabe, they never had to wrestle a female. So I've been that dad that's never had to walk the shame. Not saying it's bad, but nobody wants their son to get beat by a female wrestler. I mean, it just, that's something that you can always bring up at the dinner table. Be like, man, son, I remember when you got beat by that girl. And believe me.
I think that's the part.
You said what?
Getting to see the shame.
What'd you say?
Getting to see the walk of shame.
Yes. It's tough.
After I beat him.
Yes, that's tough. You know how many kids probably got grounded and lost their Xbox or PlayStation 4 because 5 wasn't out yet because you beat them. The dad took away their phone, took away all their privilege. The kid probably had to sleep.
Probably a lot.
the kid had to sleep in the dungeon because you beat him. I mean, poor kid. I mean, kids. I'm telling you right now, boys probably see you on Instagram or Snapchat like that's the girl that beat me. And they keep going because they don't want nobody to know that you beat them. But that's good though. That's good. So, like I said, it was great to have you on the show. Yeah. Hopefully this time we get to come and stick and we'll have it out in the next couple of days. I know we won't. We'll try to get yours before Saturday.
Yeah, we'll try to get yours up before Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday uploads will start next week.
Yeah, so Peyton, I'm glad you got a chance to come on and talk again. I mean, it's like I said, we had a good time the first time, but I think this time was even better. Like I said, I'm a big fan of you. I'll be cheering you on for another state championship. I want to see you win 4. I want to see your name on that board at Choctaw. And are you gonna get to wrestle tomorrow? I'm gonna try to make the homecoming tomorrow night. Are you gonna get a match in? Are you walking? Are you doing anything?
I'm walking, but I don't think I'm gonna get a match in because they're not bringing any exhibition, most likely because of coronavirus.
So you're gonna be dressed up in a dress tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We might have to save that picture and put that with ours. We might have to wait a day and get that picture of you in that cute dress and just say, look at the girl that's when she's on a mat, she's mean, and look at this beautiful girl when she's walking across the escort court of homecoming. So good luck tomorrow night at homecoming, getting dressed up and all that. Tell mom and dad we said hi. Thanks again for coming on. Keeping it what?
Keeping it 100 Oklahoma high school sports.
Thank you, Miss Peyton.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Folks, that's Peyton. You heard her, man. I mean, the girl's outstanding. She just won the tournament last week.
Yeah.
Won the McLeod tournament, all-girls team tournament. Got picked up to, wrestling the girls' duels, which is so funny because, some schools got girls wrestling, some schools don't. So it's kind of wild, But for her to get picked up, I know that's probably pretty cool because, going and watching your fellow teammates, your Choctaw boys wrestle, and you're not part of it. And she could easily probably be part of it, but they got a good team, I mean, you see they wrestled this weekend in that John Hancock tournament, and, they had some kids that's finished up there in the top, I think the top 6th place, but 106 is John Hancock. Who pulled that off?
106, we got Sam Smith from Stillwater. I think the last time we talked about wrestling pulled up, I think he got first place in that, what was that, the Jinx tournament?
Yeah, the Jinx tournament. I tell you this, the Smith kid, who his daddy is, man. He's taking care of business. Not only is he taking care of business at Oklahoma State, but his boy's taking care of business in the high school. And I think he just either a freshman or sophomore, so he's taking care of business. I think Choctaw had a kid place at that weight too.
Mason Hanna.
Mason Hanna,
third place.
Yeah, I think he's either he might be a junior. He's been around for a while, but I tell you, the kids, I feel like he's been at 106 the last 3 or 4 years. So that's good. He can make that weight. I guess he ain't having a hard time pulling like my kid did. But congratulations to him and taking what was that? Fourth place, third place,
third place.
At the 113. Who won that?
113. Hunter Hollingsworth from Edmond North.
Man, this kid right here is probably one of my favorite kids, folks. I mean, the kid was a Choctaw kid. He ended up moving at the very end, going to Edmond North. Him and Ricky both would have been really good to have them on that Choctaw staff. Would have helped them compete for a state championship. I think Choctaw ended up finishing second in that team points in that tournament. Stillwater won it all, but that just tells you where Choctaw's at, because Stillwater's one of the top teams. So, and I tell you, I said it earlier in one of the shows, man, do not sleep on Choctaw. Coach Biddy and those guys will find a way to pull it off. I mean, a couple of years they won it back. A few years back they won. They wasn't supposed to win it. I mean, they won all three. The Triple Crown. They won. Regional. They won state. Then they won. Academics. I mean, and it's not that many times the school can do that, but Choctaw pulled it off. So a lot of that has to go with Teresa Coleman because she stays on top of those books, man. I mean, she's that mother hen, like, hey, man, check your scores, make sure everything's up to date. So, so don't sleep on Choctaw wrestling. Even though they lost some guys, but he still got some guys in that back that can knock you off and win that state championship at 120.
At 120, my guy Speedy Walton from Choctaw.
Speedy. I'm telling you, man, the kid's a freak, man. Not only in the football field, but the kid's a freak on the mat too. And I mean, and he's one of those kids, man. You can watch out. I know Hunter and him. I know Hunter's going to watch where he's at because it's going to be hard. I mean, because Hunter's just a freshman. Speedy, he's a sophomore. But I mean, Speedy's tough, man. When I went to the tournaments, everybody used to know Speedy. His brother just texted me the other day. One he's keeping 100 jackets. We got you one coming. Chase. So we're going to take care of you. But Speedy's a tough kid though. 126. JJ McComas from Stillwater. Like I said, there's a reason why Stillwater won the tournament. I mean, they're putting them. They got kids winning. They got kids winning. Winning their weight class. If you're gonna win that weight class, and points goes up. Those bonus points. So good job to that kid winning that 126.
Yep. Then 132, we got Zeke Escalera of Moore.
Like I said, we talked about Zeke. He's a kid that moved in from last year. This kid didn't get a chance to compete in the state championship, but as you can see, he's won the last couple of terms we've kind of talked about. He's kind of won it, so he's right there again. He's trying to win his first state championship here in the state of Oklahoma. So good luck to him. And did Choctaw have a kid placed at that weight?
Yeah,
too?
Sean Muse.
Sean Muse is a kid that can easily win state. So Sean, you got to think a lot of these kids has only probably wrestled 9 to 10 matches. And at this time last year, they was probably sitting at about 25, 30 matches. You were getting ready for regionals and state. You didn't get to have the Gary tournament. You didn't get to have the Perry tournament. So these tournaments have been their big tournaments. Last year, these tournaments were like the tune-up, getting you ready. After you've been to Gary, after you've been to Perry. I mean, because those are tough tournaments. Gary. You got the team from Blair that comes over. You got a bunch of teams that come in from New Mexico and all over Texas and all that Missouri. But this year you're not getting that, so they're not getting that competition they've gotten before. So, hopefully these teams, these guys can get going because Sean Muse is a kid that can easily win state, could be a state champion. So that's tough. That's what, 138? I'm sorry, 130.
132. And so then,
138?
Yeah, 138. Carter Young, a guy that we had on our show not too long ago.
The kid's a freak, man. I mean, he's only been beat one time. He got beat by the kid out of Collinsville, Jordan, Williams is a tough kid that signed with Oklahoma State, so it kind of tells you right there, Carter's a tough kid. I'm just going to tell you that, hey, the kid's won state championship a couple times. He's looking for his third, so, there's a reason why you won 3 because, I mean, you can win 2, you're good. You can win 1. I tell people, you can win 1, I think you're still a diamond because that's hard to do, man. A lot of people can't do it. I was fortunate. I did have a kid that won 2. Back in the day, people say, oh, he's going to win 4. I'm telling you right now, dude, that's a tough thing. If Peyton can win 4, that's going to be amazing. I mean, Choctaw had, Zane Coleman do it a couple years ago, but it's very hard to have, kids win 4 state championship. 145?
145, Teague Travis from Stillwater.
Hey, that's another move-in kid. Stillwater got these kids moving in. Their brothers or cousins are going to Oklahoma State, so they're going to follow that footstep. John Smith knows what he's doing, just kind of like high school, You get them in, you get them ready, and you feed them, and you get them, get them for the next level. So, these kids are smart. You want to go wrestle at one of the best programs in the state of Oklahoma. You got Oklahoma State, and you got UCO, two of the best programs in the state. Fortunately, my kid's at UCO. I like it. He's been. I mean, He did lose this week to the number 12 kid in the nation, lost 6-4. I wasn't sad. I was kind of, kind of tickled to watch him wrestle. He had to battle back. He knows what he did wrong. He knows he can get the kid. So just keep plugging away, man. Just to be a true freshman in the lineup, on that program, ranked number 3 in the nation. They're going to wrestle against a bunch of D1 schools coming down the pipeline, and so he's going to find out who he is. So good job to UCO, and like I said, Stillwater. John Smith got it going on, man. They're knocking everybody off. 152.
152. Angelo Ferrari.
Man, his big brother is a starting 197 pounder at Oklahoma State. There you go. Brother goes to Oklahoma State. Guess what? Little brother follows, and guess what? Stillwater's loaded again. A few years back ago, when John Smith's oldest boy was at Stillwater High School, guess what? They won state. And guess what's probably going to happen again? Probably going to win state because you got these kids moving in with their younger brothers. And Smith, hey, my baby boy going to win a state championship just like his big brother did. So that's how you do it. 160?
160, the other Ferrari.
The other Ferrari. Here we go. We got the Ferraris. Not only are they driving Ferraris, they're pitting you like a Ferrari. So that just tells you right there, the big brother, like I said, he's at Oklahoma State. You got the little brother and other brother, 152, 160. You can bang up on each other and get each other better every day. So they probably got a wrestling mat in their living room. Great job, Ferraris. Their dad's a good guy, man. If you saw the guy, he's a big Italian guy with his gold chain, man. You look and he looks very intimidating. One of the nicest guys you ever talked to, though. Yeah. So the Ferraris are a good family.
Yeah. Then 170, Chance Davis from Enid.
This kid's a stud. Chance Davis, man. This kid, man. I remember seeing him as a freshman. He was at Gay's weight. I think it was at 132. And he's a kid I was kind of worried about in the bracket because he's a big kid, a big, strong kid, man. And I tell you, Zeke wrestled him before. And, man, the kid is, he didn't place high last year. He might have placed 4th or 5th last year if he even placed. But I just tell you, the kid, I think this is his year. I think he's a senior. So wouldn't be surprised to see him win that weight, and get him his first state championship.
Yeah. 182, another kid from Eden, Johnny Villa.
Eden does a pretty decent program. Like I said, they're not going to probably win a state championship. They'll probably have a couple kids win state, but they won't never probably win one as a team. But just still to have a kid win state, it makes that wrestling coach proud, and to have that kid jump up in your arms and hug you, and you tell him you love him for all the hard work he puts in. That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
And then Chandler Holman from Choctaw took
Chandler Holman. It's another, them Holmans, they go deep, man. They got, he got 2 younger brothers. You got an older brother that's at OCU, and you got Chandler. They could easily be a state championship. And if the guy turns it on, man, he can beat anybody any weekend. So that's the thing about it. Like I tell you, don't sleep on Choctaw. They got a good chance to do it. So watch out for the Holman boys. They got the younger brother. I think he's at one of those lighter weights. Yeah. Last year he placed as a freshman. Being a sophomore, he came off being hurt last year and came back at the right time and got it cooking. So, like I said, don't sleep on them Yellow Jackets wrestling. What we got?
And then 195, we got Cole Madison from Guthrie.
Don't know much about him. He's a 5'8" kid. Obviously, he has to be a stud to come down and knock a lot of 6'8" kids off. So, good luck to that young man. He'll probably have a chance to win 5'8" state because if he's knocking off these 6'8" kids, he has a good chance. I think they had Corey Moreau from Choctaw. He placed in it, didn't he?
Yeah, he got third
place. And Corey's another kid. He's been beat up a little bit by injuries, but he's a kid. If he turns it on, he can win it. And that's the thing about it, man. And we'll talk about this when we get into basketball because Del City was losing games, but boom, guess what? Last week can come out and they win the tournament. But Corey's just like that. Wrestling, you turn it on at the right time, man. You win a couple matches, boom, boom, boom. It goes your way. Because once you get past that first day, because I'm telling you, you wrestle that Friday morning. It's nerve wracking, man. As a parent, as a coach, as a wrestler, it's tough because you're sitting there, you wrestle that first match, then you come back and you come back that night. And you have to wrestle to get into the championship, and that's you're halfway there. You wrestle, you come here, then you come back at night, and then you wrestle to get in the finals. Then you say you make it to the finals. Now you got to go cut weight to get ready for Saturday morning's weigh-in. So It's not like you got I'm in the finals. Oh, I ain't got to weigh in again. No, you got to turn around weigh in again tomorrow. So I've seen it, man. I've seen a kid. They win, they come home, they're happy as hell because they're in the finals. Right. But guess what? I got to get in this gym and run about another hour or two to get this weight off so I can make weight tomorrow morning. And like Peyton said, it's a tough job, man. I'm just telling you. Wrestlers are cranky, man. I never understood because I know people always say, man, you need to cut weight, you need to cut weight. But I was like, why you cut weight? Why not wrestle at the weight you're at? Because I feel like you're stronger, you got more energy. So I never understood that. I understand cutting, 5 or 6 pounds, but cutting, 15, 20 pounds, I think that's crazy. I think a kid should cut no more than 5 to 6 pounds because that ain't nothing. Like I said, a lot of that could be water weight. But when you're cutting 15, 20 pounds, man, to get ready for the next duel or next match, I think that's outsane. That's crazy. But these guys are mindset is do it. I couldn't do it. If I did do it, I don't know. I couldn't do it. What's the next weight?
Next weight is 220. We got Brett Black winning it from Stillwater.
Brett Black, man, he's been around for a while. I've known that kid, man, for a long time, man. He's a kid that put on some meat, he back in the day, he was one of those kids that wrestled at the 85, 86 pounds and, 106. Now he's looking at 220. And I guarantee you, he's probably not to worry about cutting weight. He's in there eating a steak right now. He's like, man, forget y'all. He did it the right way. He said, hell with it. I'm going to eat. Yeah. And so he's doing it the right way. Eat. So good luck to Brent Black and, like I said, another Stillwater kid. So Stillwater can have 5 or 6 kids that can win a state championship. But I think it's wide open because Bigsby, they knocked off Stillwater. So I think it's wide open. When you get all these teams together, hey, it's going to knock off some kids and somebody. You still got Broken Arrow out there. You still got, Mustang out there, So, it's wide open. I'm just telling you, man, this year is going to be wide open. I know people probably got Stillwater as first. And then you probably got Mustang, and you probably got Broken Arrow, but you still got Choctaw, you got Edmond North. Edmond North, I think they got 6, 7, 8 freshmen in the lineup. So Snyder know what he's doing out there, boy. He got them boys breeding young, and they going to come strong. So, good luck to all these teams in the heavyweight.
Lane Parks from UConn winning.
Man, he won the last tournament, so he must be the long, outstanding big heavyweight. That's another kid that can eat and ain't got to worry about cutting weight. So good luck to him, and hope that he can get UConn a state championship this year. And let's get into a little bit of basketball. But first we get into basketball, I want to say, man, high school football is becoming kind of like, I know it ain't football season, but high school football is becoming kind of like college football a little bit. And the reason I say that because, Carl Arbor had a kid that's been with it for 3 years, and I kind of got the word the other day, he transferred out and he's taking his talents to Choctaw. Yeah. So he packed his bag, and he had 2 older brothers that went to Choctaw, and now he's going to Choctaw, which I can't understand. A kid that's won 3 state championships, right? Yeah. Why would you go to a school that hasn't won a state championship?
I'd have to say, recruiting maybe. Maybe Choctaw's been able to get some guys, get them to the next level and get them to college. So maybe he's going over there to get some college attention.
And that's good to say that you said it because I think you're 100%. What? 100%?
Yeah.
I like that 100%. But no, I think he's right. He's 100% right because, they lost another kid, Xavier Ware. He packed his bags and he said he's going to take his business, his talents to, I sound like LeBron. I'm taking my talents to, Westmore with Coach Zoe. And I can't say these high school coaches are recruiting and I won't say the high school coaches are recruiting. Because you know how it is, man. I'm going to keep it 100, man. We're leaving the basketball game yesterday. Coach pulls us to the side and says, hey, man, I got Zoe's uniform. My baby's only 10 years old. A lot of it's talk, fun, laugh, giggle, ga. But I'm saying, I don't think the high school coach goes out and say, hey, man, I want you to go get this kid. I think you send the kid, you might say, hey, man, I really like him. You talk to somebody else and somebody else go talk to him and it goes down the road. Yeah. But for one, Carl Arbor, man, you won 15 state championship. You won your 5 for 5, and you got kids leaving, going to schools that haven't won a state championship. You got Lamarion Curry. He's leaving Carl Arbor to go to Choctaw, which his 2 brothers went there. Tay. I don't know if you remember Tay that played there. He played corner, was a good defensive back. Tay. Good track kid, and his brother was there too. And and I think Tay ended up going to NEO or whatever. But maybe you are right because maybe he's not getting that attention that what Choctaw's doing for their kids, or Westmore or Millwood City or Dell City are doing for their kids. Because Coach, if you're looking in the mirror, man, you better start get somebody on that program that's going to get these kids recruited because and you can't fault Choctaw or Westmore or Del City or any of these schools, Jinx, Owasso, Bigsby, that's getting kids that's coming to their program because you're not doing your part. You might look and doing your part because the thing is you can't, because some of these kids was big time players for you, and they're going to leave you and go to another program because, Choctaw, they lost Jordan Mutes, lost pretty much.
It could be another thing, too. I mean, they just lost Ben. They don't know what the quarterback situation is. He doesn't know who's going to be able to put his ball in.
That's what I'm against. Hey, preach to us, E. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
You got Still Wassel. He's up and coming. He takes Choctaw to the first state championship in 60 years as a sophomore. He's coming back as a junior. I think he'll just come back even better than what he was last year. You already got guys, and then, you got spots open at Choctaw. I mean, he already had his spot at Carl Albert, but, Chase leaving, Wesley leaving. There's a bunch of spots open there, and then there's a bunch of talent. You got Luttrell. I mean, Choctaw is just going to be loaded next year, and I think Lamarion might be coming in there with the mentality like, I'm going to be the one that puts them over the edge that gets them a gold ball.
I like that. He's preaching, baby. That's what I'm talking about, keeping 100. Y'all think my man's quiet. He sits back and observes everything. Because you're right, because, what you're saying is right, because I don't think Carl Albert does enough getting kids recruited. Kobe, we got to give a shout out to our man, Kobe Crew, because he got
he got that offer from Rice.
And I'm tickled to death, man. And Kobe's not my kid. He's like family to me. But, it's so funny. I didn't even know. He texted me and said, man, Kobe got it. I mean, he was just as happy as Kobe was because he got that offer. That's a kid that, people like, man, why are you pushing that Carl Albert kid? Well, I'm not going to say Keep It 100 did anything, but I know Keep It 100 was part of his helping him get his name out there. Not saying, hey, we get any credit, none of that. I'm not saying none of that, but I'm saying is that that's what we want to do. I talked to a lady yesterday about her son. He plays for Hera, and she's like, man, I listened to y'all show when y'all interviewed Coach Blank, and he didn't mention my kid. And I said, you know what? He don't have to mention your kid. We'll mention your kid. Yeah. And I told her, I said, hey, when all season comes, we'll go up there and do an interview and watch him work out. And she has a freshman son. So, folks, that's what we do. We want to we're happy for Ben. I mean, he got the preferred walk-on. I mean, and you never know I don't know, Ben's going to go to OU or what he's going to do. He might go to OU for a few years and say, you know what, I'm going to play baseball. I'm going to go to another school. It's good that he got that deal because look at you can go to college right now for a year and say, hell, I don't like this school. I'm going to transfer somewhere else. And that's what kids, that transfer portal. Yeah, that's what a lot of these kids do. So Ben can do that, and the next thing you know.
I think that was a good decision on him, whether he decides to stay or transfer, because he's going to be, I think OU, bias aside, has one, if not the best quarterback room in all of the country right now. You got Spencer Rattler, who was the number one. You got Caleb Williams coming in. He was the number one coming in. Then you got the Penn State transfer. And then you got Ben in there now, a guy that has won the state championship 4 straight years. 4 really strong resumes right there. The Penn State guy, he was at Bishop Gorman. Y'all remember Tate Martell? He came out of there. He didn't really pan out, but he's at Miami right now. I think playing wide receiver.
I think he left Miami. I think he might have went to Kentucky. I don't know. We might have looked that up.
But anyways, Bishop Gorman, a pretentious program, goes to Penn State. Penn State doesn't have the season that I don't think anybody was expecting them to do as bad as they did. But
COVID hit them hard, I think.
Yeah, and then quarterback room loaded with talent, and I think that's only going to help Ben. And then you got the best offensive mind in the nation coaching him, and Lincoln Riley. He's going to learn a lot from them, and whether he decides to stay and tough it out and see if he can earn that spot, or take that knowledge that he learns from Riley and those other guys and take it somewhere else. I think that's just a great decision by him. Props to Ben, but yeah.
No, and like I said, you lose that. Like I said, Carl Blue's another kid. And Xavier Ware, he's leaving, going to Westmore. I talked to my buddy Dre the other day, and he's like, man, this kid's got good size. Receiver DB. He's like, man, I've already kind of shout out to Gundy and kind of told him about this kid, and you're like, man, he played a little bit at Carl Albert, but you had some kids that was in front of him that might not have been better than him. And I don't know, man. I don't ever want to get into that daddy ball, man, because I know when I coach my boys, I wasn't that type of coach. I know sometimes programs get caught up in who's paying that bill and who's flipping that check and who's going out, helping you get the things that you need for the program. And I'm not all about that. I was part of the touchdown club. I love feeding the kids. I love being there. And I mean, even when I was part of the club, I even told Corbin when I was on the club, I said, hey man, I don't want people to think I'm on this club because my kids are playing. So, well, your kids are going to play regardless. And I know my boys are good enough to play, but some parents like to get on that because they can control that factor. And so I think sometimes kids get left behind because I felt like that my junior year. I felt like, I was better than some of the kids that was in front of me, but they went to Maroney. I went to Jarman. Their mom and daddy had a little bit more money than me, and I'm just keeping it 100. I mean, that's 20, 30 years ago. But, I think sometimes you get caught up like that because, it's that buddy system. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. You know what I'm saying? It goes that way. And I think that's what happened with a lot of these kids, I mean, mom and daddy are like, well, why is Johnny not playing, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But, I think you put the best talent out there, and I know sometimes people get fired up when kids move in. I mean, do I like transfers? I mean, I had a chance to do that with my boys. I didn't do it. I think sometimes you ride that boat out and you make it tough. And I think at the end of the day, we was very successful what we did, 8-4 going, you guys going to the playoffs, beating Muskogee, then the team next year comes back and do just as good. And like you said, maybe Lamarion could be that kid that kind of puts him over the hump. But I think, as Carl Albert, maybe you maybe need to look at yourself in the mirror and you won 15, but how many kids are you getting recruited? I mean, did Jay Hunt kid get recruited because his son is, as his father's Jay Hunt, and he had a lot of connection because, look at Kobe, man. I mean, I saw Kobe the other day in person. I'm just telling you, man, the kid is long. I mean, Rice is getting a steal if he decides to sign with Rice because I'm just telling you, if some college coaches would have got out in front of him, the kid is about as big as Jordan Muse and probably just as athletic. He might not jump as high as Jordan Muse. And I'm not saying it because, hey, I'm a Kobe bandwagon, but I'm just telling you, man, I was really impressed to watch the kid. They practiced basketball the other night, and I was in the gym checking him out. And just to watch him, it was just like, oh, my God. I mean, the kid was, I'm just telling you, man, you put a little bit more meat on that kid, and it's gonna be fun to watch him at Rice, if he decides to go there, because I'm telling you, if some coaches get in front of him before signing day, could be ugly.
Signing day is just right around the corner, in a few weeks. So
so good luck to him, and kudos to those guys. But I just want to kind of talk about that before we got into basketball.
Right.
Why are some of these kids leaving the school that they've won state championships at? Could be the next man up, especially like Lamarion. He played a lot as a junior, started for Carl Albert as a receiver. Like you said, maybe there's some spots open. He can go to Choctaw and fill in one of those defensive backs. You lose both your defensive backs, both Thomas boys, Jordan, then you lose the other Thomas kid, number 16. Yeah. So it might be wide open because, like I said, I think you fill some of those holes. Yeah. It can put them over the hump. But I just think, this season going in, I know you said Choctaw's very loaded, and they do got a lot of talent coming back. But the biggest thing is make sure everybody stay healthy and all that stuff. Look at Chase. He was a 1,000-yard receiver. Didn't get to play a senior year, and it's kind of sucked. You don't wish it on no kid. I got a chance to talk to him the other day, and he just had another surgery, so good luck to him, and hopefully he can fight those injury bugs off because once you get injured, man, you're a wholly different person. I know I told my Achilles I was never the same Tony Johnson, being a 4'9" guy to a 6'3" guy. I'm just joking.
Luckily, I never went through none of that.
No, but like I said, I just want to kind of talk about that because I'm seeing some of this powerhouse right up the street, man. Lose some kids. I saw Coach Johnson the other day, the quarterback coach, and he's kind of giving me a hard time. Like, man, Tony, you don't ever talk good about. I said, man, I'm a bomber. I never talk bad about Carl Albert. I just, sometimes I keep it 100. Choctaw people probably get mad, think I dogged them, don't give them no love, but it's what it is, folks. It's a podcast show. It's not a show that hey. I'm gonna give Tulsa or Booker T or Jinx any more love than any of that. It's all about who's doing right, who's doing wrong. My job is to give you the information. Me talking about these two kids. People are like, how the hell does he know? I know before you even know. Before you tie your shoe, I know. That's one thing about me, baby. I'm kind of like I'm kind of like that private eye. I'm watching you. Yeah. I can sing that you didn't even know. Let's go on to the next thing, man.
Yeah. Basketball, we had the Shawnee tournament. I couldn't get the bracket pulled up. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I do know that my Choctaw Yellow Jackets, they went on to beat Sapulpa in a close one in the championship, 64-62. And then
was it Sapulpa? I thought they played Broken Arrow in the championship.
Oh, you're right. It was Broken Arrow. Sepulveda was that second round.
The semifinal. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So, they beat Broken Arrow in that championship. Where is it at? Yeah, there we go. And another close game, 67-60. But they're able to pull out the win. Gurley gets all tournament MVP honors. Choctaw's just. I think they're getting good right at the right time.
No, you're right.
They're starting to piece it together. I think they could be scary once you get into the area and regionals and all that good stuff. But Choctaw athletics is just not what it used to be. You can't schedule them on your homecoming anymore. You're going to show up and get embarrassed. And especially Choctaw basketball. I watched them last year, just being a senior there, and rooting them on. And they had a lot of talent then. They had Raul Nunez. People call him Poppy. He's really good. Terrell, when he played last year, he was fun to watch. He could jump out of the roof. But Choctaw is just one of those teams. They got a lot of talent that returned this year, and it's helping them. So don't sleep on them.
Coach Sampson's done a good job with those boys, man. Me being what I'm doing, the podcast, I get a chance to hear a lot of the good and the bad and the hips and butts and, oh man, that team, they won one game 2 years ago and now you got all these kids in there. Whatever he's doing to get them in, I've seen Coach Sampson around, and man, he's always got a smile on his face. I can't speak to the guy's character. He's always been nice to me, and it was nice to see him when I go up there and watch Gabe wrestle. In the wrestling room, he was always nice.
Yeah.
Coach Carter. Carter's good. Old Middle City boy. He knows what it takes to win ball games. So they've turned that program around. In many ways. You kind of just mentioned a minute ago. Del City. We talked about Lenny last week. I saw Lenny a couple weeks ago, man, and we kind of got a chance to sit around and chop it up a little bit. And I kind of told him, what's going on. He's like, man, it's got some young guys. We got to get them going. And I think, like you said, man, it doesn't matter what you're doing at the beginning, it matters what you're doing at the end. And right now, I think he's turning that corner. He knocked off Carl Albert. And I'll tell you, man, I got to watch Carl Albert practice the other night, man, and I was just amazed at what Coach Price has over there. Oh my God. It's just, my God. I'll tell you right now, I know Carl Albert got beat the other night by Del City. Yeah. But I'm telling you right now, Carl Albert probably give Kansas a run for their money. I'm just telling you, man. They see the 5 freshmen that play. Russell, Novotny kid, 2 good little guards, man. Little thick young guys, man, but they can flat out, man, just nice jump shot. I don't know a lot of the kids' name, but I saw Kobe. He's not a starter for him, but he's long and lanky. I think he's 7th or 8th man. But when you got, they had so much talent. It was just, I'm like, oh man, Coach Price. Price used to be Choctaw's coach, and he's done a great job, with Harold, and he got his son helping him coach, and he got Coach Cam over there. Coach Cam's a running back coach. Carl Albert's been around. I got a chance to chop it up with him a little bit, and, gave him a hug. And I've known Cam for a minute, man. And and I asked him, I said, man, when you gonna go do your own thing, And sometimes, these guys, man, they get in that bubble and they love who they're around, and they don't want to go do their own thing, man. He's good where he's at. So, kudos to, Del City, Coach Lenny, getting those guys on. We had Coach Lenny Bird. I don't know what they did last week. I don't know if they won their tournament or not. I didn't see any. Did you see any scores on them guys? PC West last week.
PC West? Let me go look real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if they won their tournament or not. But, it's getting in the thick of things, though. But, like I said, I know we're jumping back to wrestling, but I really think wrestling regional is going to be March the 13th, and then like a week or so later is going to be the final. So, I think they're doing that because of, the COVID being outside and you can get more people in. Because it's like I said, we talked about it last week, being inside that, they're doing the Little League at the Lazy E, but being inside that, where they practice, where they wrestle at in the old building down there, having all those people in there, I think you're just asking for a breakout of COVID. So hopefully they can get it outside. You can spread it out and sit on the fence, whatever you got to do. But I think it'd be whatever it's going to be. I think it'd be pretty cool to have it outside, state championship outside.
Yeah, that'd be definitely cool. Yeah. To answer your question, Putnam City West, they fell to Union.
They did. They got beat by Union.
Yeah, 52-64.
Ooh, so that's what and he talked about those teams on the other side of the state, man. It's wide open. I'm telling you, 6A boys basketball is wide open. I think Carl Albert still run away, even though they got beat by Del City. got beat by Dale City, but I still think they'll run away with it. You know, I mean, I just think 6A is just so tough. You know, you got Midwest City, you got, you know, Broken Arrow, you know what I mean, I think Sapulpa might be 5A though. I think they're 5A. They might be 6A in basketball.
Sapulpa,
I think they're.
I don't know.
I think they're, because they used to be 6A, but I think they went down in football this year. They went down. So, but I mean, that tells you right there. You know, they gave Choctaw a run for the money, and I would love just to have an area tournament, man. Just the teams just right here. You know, Carl Albert, Midwest City, Dale City, and Choctaw. Them four just hook it up one weekend here at Midwest City's gym or Carl Albert's gym. I don't care what gym is. Just say, hey, let's have us four. Winner plays each other, losers play each other, and just go first, second, third, fourth. I think that'd be cool to have those four teams hooking up because all four of those guys' teams can go, man. That'd be fun. And Carl Albert girls are good too, and so is Choctaw girls, man. I mean, they got a chance to win state, and then Midwest City girls are good. So, you know, Jones, I haven't really got a chance to get out to Jones. I know I keep talking about it, but man, with everything going on with COVID, man, everybody's kind of locking things down. But I just tell you, man, I'm looking forward to football, man. You know, getting into some all springs workouts. I know last week their 2023 class came on there. I think Steele was on there, RJ was on there, Gaines was on there. You know, a lineman, and then they had one more kid on there. That was Steele. I think Latrell was on there. Latrell was one of their, you know, some of the top, you know, 2023 kids. I think Steele came in at number 5.
The rankings. My bad. I was thinking, I zoomed out for a second. I was thinking there was a 7-on-7 tournament. 7-on-7.
You know, they played this weekend. I know when Ronnie kind of gave me some info, they went 3-1 on Saturday. He had called me early before we came on the show, but you know, I'm gonna try to, you know, tweet a lot of their stuff out. You know, you got the local kids around here that's playing on it, so you want to give those guys that props to. And I'll tell you, I'm a big 7-on-7 guy. I did it a lot when my boys were playing, and I just think
that was some of the most fun I ever had in high school, was going out there and playing 7-on-7.
You know, a lot of people don't like it. I mean, linemen don't really get no work out of it, but I think DBs, if your DB can cover without having to lock somebody up, and your receiver can, you know, do the things he can do, I think it's good for kids. It's more catching and throwing. You know, teaches your quarterback how to read a, you know, defense, because, you know, he only got 4 seconds, got to be quick. So I think it's good to think that, you know, that they got a couple different teams, but I think Steele's team's one of the top teams. So, you know, we'll follow those guys and see what they're doing. I think they got a few Choctaw kids on that team. I think Brackage is on that team. I don't know if Jack Smith's not on it or not.
I think I saw a highlight with Jack's on there. So.
And he is on there?
Yeah, I think they got Latrell, they got Steele, Jax, and maybe Brackage. I think they're all
Brackage
on there.
is on it because I saw his mom the other night at the basketball tournament, and she said he was playing in. So that's good to have those kids on it, man, you know, and getting their names out there, getting you recognized, because I know Gundy offered the kid out of Bishop Kelly, a little receiver, probably no taller than, you know, you and Gabe and Deshaun. Yeah. But the kid was real quick. You know, he's up at Oklahoma State. I don't think he ever touched the field there, but, you know, Gundy kind of offered him off 7-on-7, seeing him, because he's wiggle. I mean, he can wiggle a little bit. But like I said, folks, next week I think we're going to try to have either, you know, I think he's going to try to set something with Ben Harris, them one-on-one, and, you know, talk about, you know, his glory to, you know, going to OU. And I think the kid is tickled, man. I mean, you know, I haven't talked to Ben. I mean, you know, congratulations to him, you know, and I mean, he decides to go that route because, you know, he still got, I mean, I think he's going to go that route because I think somebody said he's going to enroll at OU, so he might already be at OU. He's going to give up his senior year of baseball, you know, pitcher, catcher, but I think he got bigger plans, you know, and, you know, I can see Ben going to OU, like you talked about earlier, being a great, you know, sponge, getting it all soaked in, and maybe become a, you know, assistant graduate coach, and
that'd be cool.
And, you know, maybe a quarterback coach. I mean, the kid's a winner, so, and anything about that, you know, he can come back and be a great high school coach, take over his program, Carl Albert, you know, when they're coaching, you know, retiring. So, I mean, that's 4 or 5 years from now. Yeah. And he could take over the helms of Carl Albert and get them rolling again, you know. People say they're going to be down next year. I don't think they will. You know me. I said
it's Carl Albert. I mean, they're going to find a way.
Yeah, when you still got a back like Buddy back there, man, it's still going to be tough to beat him, though. You know, I know they got to find a quarterback, but you know what? You know, when before Ben was there, they had to find a quarterback. Before, you know, that quarterback was there, they had to find a quarterback. You know, they've had J.T. Marino, they had some good guys come through there. So every year they've had to find a quarterback. I mean, same thing goes at every other high school. When Steele leaves, guess what? There's going to be another quarterback. If it's, you know, Cash Williams or the other Cash kid or a kid that moves in, you know. So there's always a running back, you know, when You left, there was another receiver. When you know what I'm saying. There's always going to be somebody who's going to move in and get better. Kids get stronger, get faster. So, it sucks that you for the last 4 years. I joked Coach Johnson the other night. I said, for the last 4 years, you didn't have to worry about who's your quarterback. Well, this year you're going to have to get out and really coach. But I mean, if somebody sat there and watched the game and Carl Albert's not going to change their offense too much, Buddy can always go to quarterback because he played quarterback before. So I don't think Carl Albert's going to be down. I mean, 5A is one of those programs that it's going to be the same teams in it. I think every year it's going to be Bishop McGinnis and Carl Albert, and you might get a sleeper. 6A, I know you say Choctaw's going to be tough.
I think 6A is going to be open this year.
I think 6A be open. I just think that I don't think Choctaw's going to be able to go sneak up on people this year. And now you got some film on Steele. You got some film on Latrell.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got
they'll be anticipating it.
Yeah,
as far as 6A goes, I mean, you can never count Bixby out.
No.
You can never count Stillwater out.
No.
You got Choctaw coming up, and then you usually have another team in there like Booker T or something that shows.
I think Booker
out.
T will be a little bit loaded. You got they have that kid that's coming back that got hurt last year.
Yeah.
Their quarterback, man, I got to watch a little bit of film on him. Just the other day, I was watching some film on him. Kind of study up on him, and he throws the ball. He's not as good as some of these other kids, but you could tell he's going to be a third year. He'll be a junior. I think he started as a freshman.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore this year. He's going to be a junior. So the only thing he can do is get better. You got more upside. You got downside. So, I think they're going to be. I think Booker T be kind of dangerous. Depends on what they got on the offensive line and how well they're coached. Though Bigsby, said as long as you got number one, they got to replace the quarterback. That kid's been a three-year starter. You got to replace him. But shit,
they still got Braylon.
Yeah, that's it. So. You got him. Him. I mean, you can hand the ball to him 20 times, and out of the 20 times, 5 of them he's going to take to the house. So that's a good idea. If your defense, was young and they're going to be even better this year. I mean, so some of those kids are working with Coach Dobbins. So I mean, he's getting them prepared. So no, I don't think it's going to be a drop off any. But folks. Another great show. I mean, we need to get our, our shows back up. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know. People don't like the people we haven't on. I hope everybody come and watch Peyton. We're talking football. I know people love to hear us talk football. Yeah. But, we're going to bring it to you. If a kid is leaving, if a kid is coming, we're going to bring it to you. I'm going to bring it to you. People might get mad that I'm bringing it, but all I do is keep it what?
Keep it 100.
100. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Nothing much. I mean, we got a couple good matchups with basketball this week. We talked with Coach Lenny last week. We got he's going back to his alma mater to play Midwest City. That should be a really good game. PC West against Midwest City. And then, I just had it pulled up. It was Choctaw and Putnam City North. That's what it was. They got Choctaw.
When's that?
29th.
Ooh, so PC North good. That'd be a good game.
Or it might be tomorrow, 26th. Yeah, it might be tomorrow. I'd like to go see one of them. I got to work tomorrow. Never mind. Can't get out.
Never mind. I'm kind of upset because Choctaw's not doing the Jacket TV this year. I mean,
they're not doing none of the Jacket TV.
None of the games have been on Jacket TV. I think one game's been on TV all season. And I like to get to them. And watch them. I like sometimes sit on my recliner and sit back and watch the big screen and drink me a cup of hot chocolate and watch a little bit of basketball. But I am lucky that I can watch wrestling on here. So I love to sit and hope they get that going again because I think it's good for the folks that can't make it to the games or matches and they can watch it. So
then Squirtle will come out there and I think you have to work out a deal with them, like costs a little bit of money, but Squirtle will go out there and they'll live stream it for you. But there's options out there, but it is bummer to see that Jacket TV isn't going out there to record any of the basketball, boys or girls. So, but yeah.
Well, folks, we appreciate you watching another great episode of Keeping It What?
Keeping It 100, Oklahoma High School Sports.
We want to give a shout out. She's not going to come in here, but we want to give a shout out to Zoe.
Yeah, she does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, helps us. She keeps us in check a lot of the times,
yes.
Making sure that we're doing everything right. So.
She is the boss of Keeping It 100. If anybody asks, she's the one that pays me and E's paycheck, and obviously, I guess that's why we haven't got a check yet. She must be holding on to the money. That's just Keeping It 100. But no, I would say that Zoe is a good part of it. Thank you, Proactive, for being coming on, and we will be shooting another one with LineX Eric Sanford pretty soon. So he got some new deals coming out. You can finance your wheels with him, so he'll be coming out. He's gonna have some great specials for Father's Day, Valentine's. Get your wife, your sweetheart some new wheels for her ride.
Yeah.
He does it all. From bed liners to everything. But Eric, go see Eric and the boys. I like that. Go see Eric and the boys.
Yeah.
But folks, like I said, once again, thank you for joining another great
episode of Kiva 100 Oklahoma High School Sports, and see you next week.
See ya.